Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's KETIV Autodesk Virtual Academy. We have a great session for you today. We actually have special guest Mark Sorrow from Autodesk, who's a manufacturing technical specialist. Another thing to note is Mark is actually in Montreal, so good afternoon to you. And
Thank you
bonjour.
very much.
That's the extension of French,
Bonjour.
I know. So pretty great. So
All right.
today, like we mentioned in a couple of the emails, we're going to go over some AnyCAD, some interoperability improvements within Inventor, and a lot of these relate to Vault as well. So for those of you using Product Design Suite, this is definitely something you're going to want to see. Uh, as usual, you can type in your questions at any time in the GoToWebinar panel that's on your screen. Under the questions bar, go ahead and type on whatever you want for us to answer. I'll moderate the questions. If it's something really simple, I'll go ahead and answer it at that time. And if it's something that everyone else would definitely like to hear about, something we feel is necessary to share with everyone else, we'll answer that at the dedicated Q&A session at the end. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mark. Thank you again for being here for us.
Thank you very much. All right. So there's a big title to this presentation, but it could have been as easy as how to manage the collaboration made. It's so hard nowadays working with customer suppliers because they use different CAD systems. They use old legacy data. I'm going to try to make sense of all of this. So you're more than welcome to ask the questions. My name is Mark. I'm from Montreal. It's very cold here today. It's about 50 degrees, 10 degrees C, if you know your Celsius. I'm a manufacturing technical specialist under Daryl Corley, and I try to make sense of it all. More than welcome. Ask me questions. If I don't know the answer, I'm gonna get back to you by email or even a phone call. So let's get going. So the goal today is to show you as much as possible in such short amount of time. I'm going to be talking about AnyCAD, that's for sure. We have great stuff over there. I'm going to be talking about DWG, how we can take those 2D drawings and make them 3D with a link and sync them up. I'm going to talk about meshing parts and meshing handling and all that. And also, I'm going to finish it up with a 3D PDF publishing tool that we have. And of course, I'm French, I'm from Montreal, so I had to have a little je ne sais quoi in there as well. So I'm going to start with something we call referencing the model, aka AnyCAD. AnyCAD came out last year with the 2016 release. It is, to put it simple, because I don't have enough vocabulary, it is just crazy and amazing. We can open SOLIDWORKS, CATIA, NX files as it. We don't have to convert or translate them. They're going to live inside our Inventor assembly the way they should be. We're not converting them. So instead of talking, let me show it to you. So we have an Inventor model, or an assembly, I should say. This part right here will change. This part, I don't know if you noticed, but it's actually a catch-up part. So this part is in my folder, or in my project, I should say, right here. Let's say I got an email. So someone sent me an email saying, hey, there's a new version of that file. All right, I'm going to take this file, and I'm simply going to drag and drop it in my folder. Now it says, you want to copy and replace? Absolutely. Now, if you're attentive, or if you saw this, we have a little red lightning that just came up, and also have the update button that just light up. Let me just reduce this. I'm going to zoom in so you see it. As soon as I refresh this, you'll notice that the part has changed. I have more fillets, it's looking better, less sharp edges. It is perfect. So I don't know if you noticed, I came from an email, drag and dropping a file, Windows asking me, do you want to replace it? Me saying yes, and voila, again, French word. There it is. My model just updated. This is amazing. I don't know if you ever tried something like this, let's say with a Word document saying, well, the document is open right now. You cannot do squat with it. So you need to close Word. You know, it's so complicated. Right now, with the technology that we have, boom, it's right there. Now let me show you something else, all right? I'm going to move the screen like this, and I'm going to open Fusion side by side. I'm using Fusion, but it could be any CAD modeler, any. I'm just going to make sure it looks good like this. All right. So I'm opening up this model right here. This model has been through a lot of changes. I don't know if you see this, but we have 4 versions of this. It came out like this, and then we ended up with this part right here. I'm not doing anything in Fusion. I'm not going to confuse you. And I'm just using Fusion because you're going to see a lot of that on the market. We're doing an extremely big push about this, so you're going to see it a lot. What I want to do is I want to take this file and I want to export it as a step file. Now, this is very interesting. Let me remove the V4. We don't need that. I'm going to be saving this in my folder just to show you. It's in KETIV Gripper Step folder. That's it. And I'm going to click Save. So what it's doing, it's taking a model, converting it as a neutral format. Let's forget about Fusion. Let's think about SolidWorks. A lot of people are going to build something and they don't want to share the features. You know, they're scared of sharing how they did this part. Even though they send us the complete 3D model, they don't want us to see the features, which is okay. I don't mind. It's your private garden. You want to share your garden, which is great. So what you can do is save it as a step file, send it to you, so you could be in your Inventor assembly. I'm going to be placing this CAD file. I'm going to place an imported CAD file. Now look at this. I'm going to go into my step folder right here, taking this part, and I'm simply going to click Open. This is how you import an AnyCAD data. You see, we can convert the model, which is all good. We all know about this. Or we can have a reference model. I don't know if you see this, but the icon is so bang on. It's a link. It's a chain, which means if the step model is changing, my assembly will change as well. Now, this is incredible. With AnyCAD, we have a lot of potential. We can bring CATIA, SolidWorks, NX, a lot of files. But let's say you're working with someone that's using, I don't know, Rhino or anything like that. You could be using steps. So if I click OK, I'm going to import this model right here somewhere. Well, let's put it here. I'm going to join this simply by saying this edge, that edge. I'm not going to go too crazy. It's not an Inventor how-to. It's just I want to place this right here like this. All right. Click OK. Boom. It's placed. That's it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back in my Fusion because I want to show you the direct link. I want to show you how incredible this is. So I'm in my Fusion, right click here. I'm going to edit form. I'm simply going to, I don't know, not edit form. I'm sorry. I want something that's a little bit more 3D modeling. So I'm going to take my edges. I'm going to right click and press pull. And by pressing and pulling, I'm just adding a little fillet like this. Pretty interesting. Click OK. I'm just changing the model just so you can see that we have something a little bit different like this. All right. I'm going to save it. Why not? I'm going to then export this file like I did earlier. I want a step file again. I want to put it exactly in my folder. And I'm going to click Save. Oh, do you want to replace it? Yes, I want to replace it. Now, before I click Yes, I want you to look here. Look in my feature manager. We're going to see a little red lightning coming in. We're going to see my update button will change. So I'm just going to say yes here. We wait a few seconds, and boom, red lightning is on. Update button is on. If I click Update, you'll see my model will have a little fillet in here. Is that impressive? This is so interesting. It is simply amazing. So you could be working inside your own company with 2 different CAD systems and still be able to collaborate. Now, every time the steps file, the KETIV file, the SOLIDWORKS file will change, your Inventor assembly will change as well. This is very, very impressive, if you ask me. We're going to come back to this assembly. Now, I'm going to minimize this and use my real estate like this. Okay, now, next thing I want to show you, we did the live presentation. Next thing I want to show you is the DWG Underlay Technology. Now, this is a big and hard title for a French Canadian to say. But what it means is that if you have a bunch of 2D drawings dating back from the 90s, you can still leverage them. And I'm going to show you how. And this is, again, just like AnyCAD, and for lack of better words, crazy awesome. All right, let's go back and in my Inventor. I have a brand new part that I'm going to use to import a DWG. So I click import. Of course, I've created my structure, and I'm going to use this DWG drawing using a plane, just clicking a plane and an insert point like this. Pretty easy. Now, this little panel is very interesting. It says inserting an AutoCAD DWG creates an associated DWG underlay. Basically, it says if you change the DWG, it will change the 3D part, or the Inventor part, I should say. So I'm just going to click OK on this. All good. Now, let's work the magic. I have a part that's been done in 2D from a very, very, very patient person. A lot of text, everything is in there. I'm going to use this to create maybe one section of that part. So what I want to do, I don't know if you saw this earlier, but what I want to do is I want to get rid of all those layers because I'm a 3D guy. I don't need all those. I just need my profiles, let's put it this way. So by right-clicking on my little DWG node, I will be able to go into my layer visibility and just change them. See, I have all those layers that we see. I'm simply going to click the one that I want to keep and uncheck it, because when I do so, I can go and click on that icon that says Invert Selection. Boom. This is what I need. I don't need nothing else. I'm going to click OK on this, but if you notice, I'm going to zoom out a bit. My center point is a little bit offsetted. So what I'm going to do about this is I'm going to translate this view. I'm going to say I want this to be positioned at that corner right here. It moves everyone. Pretty interesting. So my front view is done. Now, we can do something else. Let's crop this view a bit. Let me zoom in. You know, I have this front view, side view, top view. I don't need all those. I just want to keep this one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right-click again on my node and say crop. Now, crop is pretty interesting because I window select what I want to keep, like this. Right-click. Okay. Boom. Everything else is gone. I just had the view that I needed. Now, this is awesome. All right. You know what? You know what would be even more awesome or awesomer? Hey, I'm French Canadian, so that word exists, all right? See, I'm going to be able to reuse that. You know what? I'm going to add another instance. I'm going to be picking my side view like this and picking this center point for insertion. Now, again, it says, you know what? By adding this DWG, you're going to keep a link, which is great. I want to do this. This is awesome. Let's do that. But what I want to do is I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to be, maybe cropping. I want to keep this top view only, or in this case, it's going to be the side view, of course. All right. I'm going to be right-clicking and translate. I'm going to say that my insert point will be here. Let me zoom out a bit so you can see. And what I'll be doing is I'm simply going to rotate this, minus 90 degrees. So I have one DWG that was used to create a side view and a front view. And of course, by doing so, it's easy for me to use that and start modeling this sheet metal bracket or part. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to leverage the 2D views that I have, and I'm going to start modeling stuff. So I'm entering a sketch right here. I'm into a sketch right now on my side view, and I'm going to be projecting geometry from a DWG. I'm going to be saying I want, I could be window selecting everything. That's perfect. So I converted my DWG onto that sketch. I'm going to finish the sketch, and I'm simply going to extrude. Now, this is very interesting. We've seen AnyCAD. We've seen the links and how we can sync anything with AnyCAD. Now, don't worry, my window will come back. You didn't lose the signal. It's just, it blacks out when I'm trying to extrude. I don't know why. It's my fault. But we've seen that it creates a sync or a link between your 3D files from another CAD system, even from a neutral format, and always going to update if the file is changing. Now, the same thing's going to happen with a 2D DWG. Now, let me extrude this profile right here. I'm simply going to select this, like that. And you know what? We're here to have some fun, so let me do this like this. Can I just change my profile? Maybe? Oh, it doesn't matter. We're just going to have some fun. I'm going to click here, create a sketch. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm simply going to window select all this, project geometry. I'm sorry, window select all this. It's projecting my geometry on my sketch that I just did on the top of this plate, like that. Perfect. Finish sketch. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start an extrusion, but I'm going to keep only what matters to me. So I'm going to do this like that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to flip the side of my extrusion, and I'm going to choose intersect to get something a little bit better that looks like this. Now, usually I turn this I convert this into sheet metal, but because I misclick and I have this non-constant thickness, I'm not going to do this. It doesn't matter because for what I want to show you, it just doesn't matter. So I'm going to start a new sketch right here, and I'm going to be converting exactly the same way I did, but now I'm going to be a little bit more selective. I'm going to click this line, this one, that one, all these like this, and I'm going to convert them. Sorry, like that. I'm going to add a line right here. I could be doing anything. It's just for fun. You know what? Let's move out like this. All right. Let's finish the sketch. Let's reuse this profile right here to do a cut. All right. Let me just get something straight on my sketch before I do that. I'm going to create a line right here because I want to show you that when I change something in my DWG, it's going to change on my 3D as well. All right. Extrude. What did I do wrong? You know what? Let's do this. We're between friends, so let's have some fun. I'm going to delete everything that I did. I'm going to start over, selecting only the lines that I want, nothing else. You know what? I'm going to be doing this like this. That's it. Project geometry like that. All right. That's what I want. Perfect. Let's have some fun. Of course, I'm going to cut, accept, all good. Now let's turn those DWG that I don't need anymore. I have this part that, if you allow me, looks a little bit funky, but that's okay, because what I want to do is just show you what can be done. Alrighty. Now let's move this Inventor on that side and let's open up AutoCAD. Yes, good old AutoCAD. I have the drawing that I use to create this part with all those funky profiles. Now if I come here and I'm just going to change something, all right, I'm going to pick this and I'm going to change this radius. It is pretty funny, but if you're from Montreal, this is all normal, all right? Now, when I'm going to save this AutoCAD drawing that I just modified, I want you to pay attention again, because you're going to see something changing. You're going to see the red lightning, and you're going to see the update button change as well. So if I save this, wait a couple of seconds, and you will see, first of all, my update button is open or on. So if I click on it, you see here the changes that have been done. Now the same thing, if I undo this, if I go back in AutoCAD and I decide to undo and I save this, the same thing will happen. Let's say I did a mistake. I come back here, my update, you see the red lightning are open. If I update this, it's going to come back as normal. Isn't that unbelievable? Not only does it work with 3D models, but it also works with 2D. So you could be leveraging your old legacy data that you have from many, many years back, converting them into 3D, but still be able to sync them and change them when needed. This is, again, pretty interesting. All right, now let's go back, and I want to show you something else. Now, we've seen AnyCAD with 3D. We've seen DWG Underlay. I want to show you something that's very interesting, especially, you know, nowadays with scanners and being able to take a bunch of pictures and getting a 3D model. We are working a lot with meshes. What's great about mesh parts or meshes and all this is that we get a 3D view or a 3D, I want to say, mock-up of an actual physical part. But it was so hard to work with them because we had to convert them and maybe use them and, you know, do some tracing on top of those and try to get something that looked like the mesh part. Not anymore. We can actually go inside Inventor. Let me get this view. I'm going to go back to my puller right here. We can go back inside Inventor and insert a mesh if we wanted to. All right, let's move this like this. It looks a little bit better. All right, just for the look. All right. So I'm going to go and place imported CAD file. I'm going to go into my mesh folder, and you'll see that I have an STL file. We all know STL files are good for 3D printers, but also there's a lot of meshing component attached to it. So I'm selecting this file right here. Let's put it right here. Does that look like a mesh file to you? I mean, everything is in there. All those triangles, all those flat faces. It was just so painful to work with. Not anymore, because now I can, you know, take this part. I'm going to move it here. I'm going to join this edge right here. I'm going to turn maybe just a bit like this. Take this edge right there. And I'm going to be able to insert it. I'm just going to flip this like this. Now, is that amazing? I just took a part that's a mesh part. You know what? Let's try something else. I'm going to join this. Let's try something. I'm going to take a tangent. I'm going to say this. No, it's not going to work. It's the same one. Mark, come on, Mark. You know better than this. I'm going to constraint, use tangent. If I move a bit, I'm going to say inside of this. That's that face right there. Boom. It's now placed. Now, this part right here, let's call it a finger. This is a mesh file. This is not a real, I want to say real, quote unquote. This is not a real file. This is a mesh. It comes from something else. Maybe this part never had any drawings. It's an old part. We took some pictures, scanned it, and we got an STL out of it. And now I can work with it. It's now becoming a real life citizen. That's impressive, and that's totally, unusual. But it's working with Inventor. What's great about this is I could be doing some clash detection, some interference detection, and it will notice if there's any interference with this mesh file. Pretty interesting. Alrighty, we're almost done here. 3D PDF publishing. This is perfect. We've seen AnyCAD with 3D if you're collaborating with someone or inside your own company using different CAD systems or even different file types. We've seen DWG Underlay using a 2D, making a 3D out of it, and having a sync or a link with this DWG. We've seen the meshing part of it. Now, it's even easier and easier to collaborate nowadays because we have access to all those great tools with Inventor. Now, how can you communicate this great design of yours to someone that has no clue how to rotate a part, zoom in, or do anything like this? Well, you can use 3D PDF if you needed to, which is very interesting. Let me go back to Inventor. All right, so we have this great model. We've all seen it. It's a one-finger gripper. Yeah. What you can do is you can go inside a file. You can export it as a 3D PDF. Now, all the information that you have, all the different view representation, all the different properties, all the metadata that you use, like company project titles and all that stuff, is going to come and be included inside the 3D PDF. You can also play with the visualization quality if you needed to. You can generate your own template if you wanted to. And you can also generate and attach a step file to it. Now let me show you what it looks like. I've saved it. I have one that's ready for you to see. If I go here in my PDF, there it is. Now it's very important to notice that someone can just click that view and spin it. It's a PDF. It's not scary. Try sending someone an Inventor assembly with all the children, everything, all the parts that are related to it, or even a drawing. It's scary for someone that doesn't know how to do this. Now, if you have this like this, it's easy. You click and it changes. Nothing to be scared of. You have all the information right here. And if you're a little bit more adventurous, well, you can click on those and change everything. And it's pretty interesting. Everything is in there. And also, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm using a French Adobe reader. So if you're using, obviously, if you're using an English one, you'll see everything in English. But I'm just saying that it's very easy to communicate to someone that doesn't know how to run Inventor or any CAD software or solution and be able to just click and spin and zoom and everything like that. But that's pretty much it for me. I hope you learned something. I hope you understand how easy it is with Inventor to just collaborate and use all type of files. I'm telling you, all type of files, from 3D to 2D DWG. It works, and when you need to communicate with someone else from the outside, well, you can always use 3D PDF publishing as well. If you have any questions, please use the chat window to ask them, and it will be my pleasure to try to answer them.
All right, thank you again, Mark. That was awesome. Definitely like the flair there and everything. I'm sure a lot of people have questions. We already do have a couple in. Yeah, just to reiterate what Mark said, if you do have questions, feel free to post them in the side. And if you do remember some, maybe after the web, feel free to email them to Lifeline, as you can see on the screen here, or just add that in the end webinar survey that we do have when you go ahead and close the window. So the first question came from Peter, and Peter asked, what 3D printer file types support does Autodesk provide for additive manufacturing export ease? He's mentioned that STL still need to convert over at this moment. So I think, if I remember correctly, Fusion, when you can export to most 3D printers out of Fusion, but for Inventor it might be a little bit different. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, Mark?
Yeah, it's. I'm going to do some research and get back to you. But Fusion and Inventor, they are connecting directly to your 3D printers, or most of them, but it's still using the same STL file. So you do have to convert them because right now STL is the known language for 3D printing.
Okay, yeah. So we'll definitely get back to you, Peter, about that. So we've got a
Yeah.
question here from Scott, and I think a couple other people asked similar questions. So I think we're gonna hit a few birds with one stone here. So Scott asks, how do you fix a broken link? For example, say a designer deletes and redraws a hole diameter from, you say 5/8 to 7/8 in the drawing or in a part. Since the geometry wasn't modified, but instead it was replaced, is the link broken?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be careful with that. It is. I'm sorry. It's a sad answer, but it is. Let me find out. Let me find out if we have any rescue tool for that. But I'm pretty positive the answer is yes, because you're just inserting new geometry to it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it'll think of it as something else. So I guess the
Yeah.
workaround for that would be just to edit the whole or whatever sketch that you have, the feature, instead of deleting it and replacing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna get back to you as well for this one. I want a 100% positive answer for this.
For sure, sounds good. And then Michael Best, one of our good friends here, is asked a couple of questions. The first being the link between Inventor and AutoCAD. How much connectivity lag can occur when working on a network or working with multiple parts in Vault, as referenced in other assemblies and stuff? Because I know you demonstration was pretty local on your machine. Um,
Yeah.
are we going to see the same kind of load times if we're working on a network?
Yeah. Well, this is the chicken or the egg type of question. It's always better to work locally. So Vault would be a benefit for you because you would be able to just get your files locally and update as soon as the update happens. But through a network, it could lag, especially during lunchtime where everybody's on the internet and trying to update Facebook and all this. You can experience some lagging. So working locally is actually the key to this success as much as possible. And Vault will be a great benefit for that.
Definitely. And along those same lines, if the parts are referenced in other assemblies or other projects in Vault, say you do check out the part you're working on or the assembly that you're working on, will it check out, like, for example, the drawing that it's referencing or the other parts?
I would attach them as being references or shortcuts. So that way, when you check out something, you will see everything that's attached to it, and you will be able to select those that you want to check out as well. That's a great point.
All right, definitely. And then, wow, we got a lot of questions today. So we have one from Fred, and he is asking whether or not you see a difference on the drawing between a mesh file and a normal part. So when you did that finger, if you create a drawing from that, is it going to look any different than if that part were to be, say, a regular part file?
Yes, it will. It's going to look funny because of all the multiple faces that we have with an STL file.
Just all those
And
lines.
also, since we're between friends, adding a lot of mesh file to an assembly could create some performance issues just because there's so many little faces that it's going to be very big very quickly. But the trick is to only use one of those mesh file to confirm that what you're doing is actually the good thing. If you need this finger, if I needed this finger to be working, or I needed this part, I would definitely try to recreate this mesh as a real 3D part. But adding those will create a heavy assembly, and also inside the drawing, it could be a little bit funnier than what you have.
For sure. Let's see what we have here. And Daniel asks, how do you create different views on a 3D PDF? If I remember correctly, those are from the views that you create within the Better assembly.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. You can have different representation if you want in your model, and you just insert them into the PDF. But also, it's important to note that you can generate your own template. So the template that I use is the one that comes with Inventor. But if you have like an Acrobat Publisher or something like that, you can generate your own template to reuse
Definitely,
as
yeah.
well.
Along those same lines, if you do want to know how to create some view representations and a couple of different things with there, we also did another one of these Autodesk Virtual Academy sessions on that. If you do want to see that, that's located on our YouTube channel. As will this, if you want to watch this later or you want to share this with somebody else, this should be up either later today or tomorrow. So just for those people asking for this. And then you can hear Mark's voice again, which is awesome.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No, no, it's definitely a compliment. I love the accent. I want to learn. I want to, like I mentioned, I want to go to Montreal one day, definitely.
You let me know anytime.
For sure. So let's see what we have here. Fred asked another question. Can he show a surface in a drawing as a normal part? Also section views. Let's see.
Oh yeah, there's something that came out, something new with Inventor 2017. Let me get back to you, Fred, about this.
Okay, definitely. I'll definitely get you two in touch, and we'll make sure we get all of those questions answered. A couple of people asking whether or not a recovery tool is available. Definitely, Mark will get back to me on that, and I'll definitely shoot an email, Scott, in regards to that there. And I
Yeah.
think the last question we'll cover. Actually, there's a couple more. We'll cover a couple more things. First, Daniel asked, "What is a mesh file?" So if you can just give a little gist on what that is versus a part file, Mark.
All right. Perfect. That's a great question. So a mesh file could be anything from a part that you save as an STL file, all the way to, those scanners like Sparrow does one scanner, Leica does another one. We have those apps also on our phone that you can take a bunch of pictures of a part, and you can turn those pictures into I don't want to say a solid, but into a mesh file. So those mesh files coming from a STL file or even this app or a Sparrow scanner are called mesh files. They're not 3D built. They don't have any features inside of them. It's just an envelope. It's just a representation, a 3D representation of a part.
Right.
And
It's made out of
those,
just a bunch of triangles.
exactly, it's just a bunch of faces and triangles. Exactly. So they don't have any weight. It's just a 3D representation. So to be able to import them, or I want to say insert them inside an assembly and work with them as though they were real parts, this is unbelievable. Because like I said, it's like, let's put it this way. It's like a 3D version of a Microsoft Paint drawing. There's nothing else. It's just a 3D envelope. But we can, do interference detection. We can assemble them. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
For sure. Quick one is 3DF PDF from Adobe. It's a native. Just to answer that question, it's native to Inventor. You can create 3D PDFs in Inventor. They can be read from most PDF readers. Adobe being
Yeah,
the main one.
absolutely. And we use an engine to create those 3D PDFs. But yeah, it's a PDF. So anybody that has a PDF viewer will be able to see a 3D PDF as well.
And final question here from Victor. Is it possible to measure components on PDFs made from the Inventor files?
That's a great question. I'll try that and I'll get back to you. You know
Definitely.
what? Let me try it. I
I'll
still
get
have it
I'll get back
open,
to
but
Victor.
let's.
Oh, looks like we can look real quick and see if we can.
No, you can do section view. You can change the color, but there's no measuring.
Okay. Yeah. If we
So
find anything different, we'll let you know, Victor. Uh,
absolutely.
and then the last short thing here from Daniel again. How do you translate a mesh file to an Inventor 3D model? That's a little different.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a
I,
great question. We have something called used to be called Autodesk memento that is now called Autodesk Remake that allows you to turn a mesh into an OBG file, and then from OBG you can actually turn that into a solid. It's not a straightforward workflow, but it's working. So there's some YouTube clip about it on our channel, and I think you guys did one as well. So yeah, I can get back to you as well for that one.
For sure. And just for all of you, we do have a training class, kind of relating with multi-CAD interoperability and some collaboration, which does include, data management workflows with multiple CAD system files and avoiding those translation errors when moving from CAD systems. We know a lot of you are using vendors who are not necessarily using uh, files that come from Autodesk products. So definitely, if you do have a need for something like that, please let me know, and I'll go ahead and get you in touch with the right people.
And
So
I have to admit, taking a class, taking a training would be more valuable than watching a video, because converting meshes to solid part is not easy. So training is the way to go.
for sure, and so yeah, just let us know, or let me know if that's the case. You can email Lifeline. You can put that in the survey questions at the end. And I'll make sure to get back to you. So with that, I think we're good for today. I'll just remind you, if to stay connected with us, follow us on all those major social media outlets. Everything that we do gets posted on LinkedIn and Facebook. So if you want to, follow one thing and be able to read all of our blog posts, see all of our YouTube videos, and some silly stuff here at KETIV every once in a while, you can definitely check those out. So I'd like to thank you again, Mark, for joining us today. It's been definitely a pleasure, and we've gotten some great feedback. Definitely one of our best sessions to date.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So I think that's it for today. So ciao, everyone, and we'll definitely see you next week when we're doing an Autodesk Virtual Academy session all about frame generator and a little bit of advanced steel. So with that, I bid you farewell. Adios.
Thank you. Bye-bye.